Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Oindrila, and in today's video I'm going to talk about why you're not unlucky or cursed if you have a chronic skin disease like psoriasis or eczema, even if it may seem so, and you have suffered enough. Even though you may feel that you've been born into a life of suffering because of a very painful disease and traumatizing disease like psoriasis or eczema. And I'm basing this on my decades of having had psoriasis and then recently having had eczema, which I'm now healed from. So yes, people like to ask me about a particular medicine or skincare product or particular diet that I'm following. And yes, while that is important, in my experience of having healed from them and having tried various medicines and various doctors over the several decades, I've understood that the food is important, but what is also important is your mental diet. So your thoughts and the way you look at it and the way you perceive yourself in the light of having this chronic skin disease or someone else having it. So I highly recommend you go watch all the other videos in the playlist that I currently call dance and mindfulness, as well as health and wellness, because there are overlapping videos about health and wellness in them. So I highly recommend you go watch out the entire playlist if you haven't already. Many people consider that you are unlucky, you as in the person who has psoriasis, or someone else in their family who has psoriasis, consider that it's a matter of curse, a matter of life is unfair, life has been cruel to them if they get a chronic skin disease out of nowhere, and for that matter any disease. And I had actually prepared another video in my mind called health and wealth are related, and I wanted to give some personal examples and show how health is not just about something, let's say for chronic skin disease like skin. People say, oh, it's just a matter of skin, it's not like you've got cancer or a life-threatening disease. Of course it is traumatizing for those of you who have it, as well as the fact that any kind of disease, any kind of illness is a matter of some negative emotion trapped in your body, something that is lingering on in your body. So, and the disease is just a manifestation, is just an external manifestation of what's going on inside your body, because it's the law of correspondence. In whatever happens inside is reflected on the outside. Therefore, if you have a disease or an illness, it's not, oh, it's just everyone has it. Like a lot of people tend to say, everyone has diseases nowadays. It's so common because of the food and the pollution and so on. But I know that it's not just that, it's internal. And most people are not interested in hearing that part, well, because of the reasons I mentioned in the other videos. But if you're here and you watched so far, then you probably are. So I'll keep going. Now, okay, so the topic is, oh, by the way, before I get into the video, I have been sending out emails to people who have signed up for my newsletter about all these things that I talk about. I talk about it in more details via email. Because I feel sometimes people are more interested in just the diet or just the product or what have I done, which doctor here on the channel, and those are the kind of questions I guessed. I'm getting a call, which I'll take later. So I send out emails to people who have willingly signed up for things such as the affirmations. And then I have gone on to share even deeper concepts which will help the affirmations to flower and create change in your life. Because it's not about the tools and techniques, it's more about the foundational thinking, which is important. And I'll touch upon that briefly today in today's video. Okay, so what I wanted to start off with when I say that you're not unlucky or cursed is because, like I said, I wanted to create that health and wealth video, but then I felt more inspired. Suddenly this inspiration came to me a few days ago and I wrote it down in my notes. Like I quickly write down when I feel like this is the video I should be doing next. And this took precedence over that health and wealth one because I got an email from a father whose child, who's 13 years old, has psoriasis, and he was asking me about the doctor and so on. And then at the end he signed off by saying from an unlucky father and mother, which, like, it made me feel something, which is that it made me feel some way in order for me to make this video here, which is that no, you shouldn't call yourself unlucky. And yes, it's easy for me to say that now because I have been through the whole experience and I know that everything that happens for a reason. And I'm saying that not because I'm healed, but even when I had psoriasis, I deeply felt that it's protecting me from something. I used to tell my mom when I was way younger, I was in school, that, you know, maybe I have this. In fact, I felt like I was comforting her, and I told her that maybe I have this, it means that I will not get something as dangerous or critical as cancer. And she rolled her eyes, thinking how naive I was. But I saw recently that someone did have psoriasis and then they had cancer, so they had to focus on cancer and they couldn't focus on treating psoriasis now that they have kicked cancers, but they got back to psoriasis, which nullified this whole premise that I had. Anyway, didn't matter. How I looked at it in my own way is what is important, and you need to be constantly finding ways to look at what the current situation is, and that applies to really everything in life. But since we're talking about psoriasis, we're going to stick to that, which is to find a way you can shift your perspective of looking at something which may not be desirable. So for example, psoriasis is not desirable, and it is quite natural for you to feel angry, resentful, and that life has been unfair to you, and you're not starting off at the same level playing ground as, say, your peers or your siblings who do not have it. Because that's how I felt when I was younger. When I was a child, I got it at 6, that I'm not getting the same level playing ground as my classmates, friends, cousins, and siblings, because they didn't have it. And at that time, psoriasis was completely unknown. It was very rare, so no one knew about it, and obviously no one in my family knew about it. So my mom was like really grasping and struggling to come to terms with it. So I felt like sometimes I had to almost console her and comfort her. So yeah, it's very natural for a parent to be worried. My mom was very worried about it and still is till this day. If she sees that I am upset about it or something, she doesn't express it, but I'm pretty sure any parent would be. So yes, you're not unlucky or cursed, and if you feel that way, you know that that mentality is not going to help you. If anything, it's going to make it worse. So no feeling of sadness or grief is going to make you feel your psoriasis better. In fact, it can make it worse. It will make it worse. And if you are not someone who has psoriasis and someone else in your family has it, I know it's difficult. It's very scary, especially if you're a parent, because you would be worried about the child's experience throughout life, which is not very easy. Feeling left out, people staring at them. I've experienced it all. Me not wanting to go to social events because of my flares. My mom has seen it all. Not having clothes to wear, everything, all those things. But then from my experience, I can tell you that everything happens for a reason. And if you are feeling sad and worried, then your child will pick up on it and they'll not get the consolation and the comfort that they're looking for. And yeah. So that's that. Now we want to get from what I call negative emotions, which is feeling bad for yourself, to a point of neutrality. So I was talking about the level playing ground, and it might seem to you that you have not started off at a level playing ground as others, but you have to get to that level playing ground in your mind, even if your reality, which is your body, says otherwise, that you have psoriasis. So and how you do that is by accepting it, that this is what it is and I have to deal with it. How I dealt with it is like, well, this is it. I'm going to go to the doctor and figure it out and be better. And then like you have other things going on in your life. So I was very like studious, geeky person. I enjoyed school. I enjoyed going to school and studying and reading books. So that really was the focus of my life, and which is why I was not focused on the actual disease. So that's one thing, how you can get to neutrality. And that's how you get to like just living life with it as if you don't have it. Now the next stage after that comes, you want to go from negative to ideally positive, but since it's quite a stretch and it's very difficult to go from feeling bad about yourself and angry and negative to feeling hope or gratitude, that takes a while, and that can only come once you've accepted it. So we've come to the point of acceptance, Now, let me know in the comment section below which stage you identify with, where are you at right now. So you come to acceptance, and then hopefully over time you can get to gratitude. Now you wonder, how can I get to gratitude about something like this? I really felt like that because when I was really going through, this was in my, when I was working, I had just joined a job, and a dream job that I had wanted for a long time. Then I was feeling very frustrated with psoriasis because again I was not able to wear what I wanted to wear to office, wearing clothes which always covered my legs even in the hot summer. I really felt frustrated, and that time I had started with, you know, practicing spirituality. I was trying out Buddhism, as in I have a video about that, but I was trying to find answers to all this. And the common thing in any spirituality is be grateful, and I was like, how on earth do I be grateful? So something like that, I'll tell you how. I always told myself, like I said, how I reframed it in my head when I was a child, that I wouldn't have something more critical. That's one way. Then, like, every reframe is going to vary from person to person, so you would reframe it in a way depending on your circumstances. So I did it that way. And then another thing, how I found gratitude was by um, and this is a fact, that I got a lot of confidence from the fact that I had all these scales and this different looking skin from childhood. When I used to have flares, I used to get asked a lot of awkward questions, a lot of personal questions, because people would be curious, and then I would be given a lot of unwanted advice, and then of course get a lot of unwanted attention and stares. So initially that obviously bothered me and made me mad, that why can't people just mind their own business. But at the same time, it also gave me the confidence to be okay with sporting whatever clothes I wanted to wear despite having flares. And yes, that made me uncomfortable, but also made me immune to people's stares. And like I mentioned in another video, that I have always been getting attention, unwanted attention, from men and women. And not because of psoriasis in general, even when I don't have flares or right now, or I'm fully covered. So these two things together made me very immune and literally thick-skinned. Yeah, coming back to gratitude. So I was talking about how having being at the receiving end of all this unwanted attention, awkward questions, and unwanted advice, I've grown this thick skin of not being bothered, basically, and not taking things personally. So I understand if someone wants to give advice, it's out of good intentions. I mean, people don't give me advice anymore, but yeah, I mean, just finding a way to understand that people don't mean it personally when they're staring at me. Most of the times they're curious. I would be too if I was looking at someone like that, if I didn't have psoriasis myself and I didn't know better. And another thing is that I have also this, like, I understand how embarrassing and awkward it can be, and difficult it can be for someone who has a disease which is apparent, and then how difficult it is for them to, awkward it is for them to answer questions when they are asked about, quizzed about their illness. So I also know not to do that, although I don't think I would have done it even if I didn't have it. Now, the next level that we want to go to is hope. After getting to gratitude, hope that this is going to get better, I'm going to heal this, I'm going to be psoriasis free or eczema free. And that is based on knowing that you're not born on this earth to suffer. You're not supposed to have a life of suffering. And I know that it may seem otherwise, that at least that was my experience too, that when I had been diagnosed with psoriasis at the age of 6, and that really distorted my lens of looking at life, which was that life has been unfair, and therefore everything in my life also seemed that way, one after the other. So let's say career, or a certain, let's say I'm trying for some position or trying for some grade, and it wouldn't happen, then I would be like, oh, you know what, that makes sense, because the odds are against me. If I could get psoriasis, that means that I was not supposed to have as great a life as the others. Let's say my friend who also partied and also got good grades, whereas I just studied and I didn't get good grades. So this is my life experience, and this is how it's meant to be. which is, by the way, not true. And this is a foundational concept that I go into depth in my emails sometimes, because I know people here are again more focused on the tell me what to do, tell me what to eat and all that. So again, if you want to get into these deep concepts of manifestation, which by the way, these concepts are the same for manifesting health, wealth, relationships, creative expression, career, so on. So if you want to, do get on that email list. And I'm also going to be launching a coaching package where you get to be coached by me while you're implementing the tools and techniques that I teach, because it's not about the tools and techniques so much, but it's more about the ability to stick to them. So yeah, if you want to know more, get on my email list. And okay, so yeah, you're not meant to have a life of suffering, and you're not meant to have a life of pain. The only reason you were born is because for you to experience the joys of life. And if you are having an otherwise like a different experience right now, it means that there is a lesson for you to learn, and that usually is in the case of a disease, especially skin disease, like my doctor has said, like Louise Hay. Like if you read modern healers, the concept of most modern healing is based on the fact that it's some negative emotion which has been trapped in your body. In psoriasis, it's a case of anger and resentment. So that is usually that person needs to let go of, and I've been told time and again by my doctors as well as my spiritual teacher. I mean, not that she knows I have an autoimmune, but that has been her experience too, and that's a process we are all working towards, to let go of negative emotions in life, and that is usually a block against whatever we want, that is in our case perfectly smooth skin and health. So yeah, the lesson usually is that to be able to let go of anger and resentment, to detox yourself of negative emotions. So I think I'll make another video on that topic, and I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.